Hi everybody! So today is day 3 of online learning and we're on day 3 of our matter unit. So we've been talking all about matter. You learned that matter has different properties like color, size, texture, and shape. You learned that there's 3 different states of matter. There's solid, liquid, and gas. And today you're going to be learning about different changes in matter. So when I say a change in matter, I'm talking about something like this. This is a piece of matter, right? It's a piece of paper. It's solid. All the molecules are very close together. It has a shape. So this is a piece of matter. It takes up space. Well, even though this is a piece of paper, is it still a piece of paper? Yeah, I mean, I ripped it in half, but does that mean it's not a piece of paper anymore? Let me try it again. Maybe if I rip it up again, it'll stop being a piece of paper. Is it still a piece of paper? Yeah, let's try again. Is this a piece of paper? Yes. I could keep ripping up this paper over and over and over again. Did it change? Yeah, I mean, it's a bunch of different pieces of paper, but it's still paper. See, I started with one giant piece of paper, and even though I ripped it up into a whole bunch of little tiny pieces, it's still paper. But sometimes, when a piece of matter changes, it's no longer what it originally was. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Okay, so as I said before, today is day 3 of our science unit on matter. And we are going to be talking about changes in matter. So in this picture, I have a whole bunch of different examples of matter. I have an ice cube, there's a fire going on, some fireworks, these are marbles. These are all pieces of matter because they take up space. But if you look closely, you'll notice that these are all pieces of matter that are changing from what they originally were. And we're going to talk more about that soon. But I just want you to notice, this is an ice cube, but what's happening? It's melting. Here's a piece of paper, and it's being shredded into different pieces, kind of like what I did before. This banana looks rotten. So in this picture, there are 2 types of changes that are happening. There is physical change, and there's chemical change. And we're going to talk more about that in just a second. A physical change is when a piece of matter changes, but still has many of the same properties. All right, so right here, I have a canvas. I know sometimes in art class, Miss Carly has you paint a picture. Well, that's what this is. This is a canvas that is meant to be painted. It is white. It is a rectangle. It looks like it's smooth and hard. And look right here. Somebody painted this canvas. They put color on it. See, this is a physical change because it didn't change the size. It didn't change the shape, but it did change the color a little bit. Here are some more examples of physical changes. Right here is a regular pencil, but look, somebody broke it in half. But just because someone broke a pencil in half does not mean that it's no longer a pencil. It's still a pencil. Same thing with butter. If you had a stick of butter and you left it out, then it's gonna melt. But it is still butter. It did not turn into something else. It's still butter. Right here I have a loaf of bread. Somebody took a knife and they cut it up. They sliced it. But you know what? Even if you take out little pieces and you eat the bread, it's still a piece of bread. This means it is a physical change. But the cool thing about physical changes, sometimes they are reversible. That means that they can be undone. So down here in this picture is a pot of water. So somebody originally had to take this pot and pour water into it, and then they had to boil it. They put it on a stove or on a hot plate, and it began to boil. But if you take this pot and you remove it from the stove or the hot plate, then this water will no longer be boiling. It will go back to the way it was originally when they first put it into the pot. Another type of change that happens with matter is called a chemical change. So after a piece of matter goes through a chemical change, it becomes a different piece of matter. Now I know that sounds confusing, but I'm going to help explain that to you through these pictures. So let's look right here. In this photo, there are a whole bunch of different ingredients. We have milk, butter, sugar, eggs, and flour. These are all pieces of matter because they all take up space. But in this photo, somebody is combining all of these ingredients and they're pouring them all together and mixing them up in a bowl. In this photo, the person who's making these pancakes is starting to cook the batter and the different ingredients. And this is where the chemical change happens. See, when you look at this picture, it no longer looks like a piece of butter or an egg. It's starting to look more like a pancake. And that is because it's becoming something different. It's becoming a pancake, and it is going through a chemical change. And down here, there's a delicious looking stack of pancakes that every time I look at this picture, I get hungry. So here are some more examples of chemical change. Let's look right here. These are actually fireworks. This is what a firework looks like before it explodes and goes off. And here's a picture of fireworks as it's exploding. This is a chemical change because it's a piece of matter that is turning into something else. But once this firework explodes, it can no longer go back to being one of these. That's because chemical changes cannot be undone. They cannot be reversed. Let's look over here. We have a fire and it's burning over some logs, some wood. And what happens is once that fire is all done burning, the wood is not going to be the exact same as it was originally. Instead, it's going to turn into ash. And here we have an egg. When you first begin cooking an egg, it's inside of a shell, so you have to crack the egg, and it's very soft and jiggly. And what you have to do is you have to fry it. And while you're frying it, there's a chemical change that happens, which makes it a fried egg. It's not the exact same as what it was originally. Here we have a rotten banana. This banana cannot go back to how it was originally. It's been through a chemical change and now it is rotten. Okay, so now that you guys know more about physical and chemical changes, I want you to go back to your seesaw assignment and complete your work about the different changes of matter.